Hey traders, TG Watkins here. It's November 17th when I'm recording this. Hope you guys are doing well and looking forward to the weekend. Keep in mind, next week we have Thanksgiving and we do have the actual holiday. The market's going to be closed on Thursday, and then we have a half day on Friday. Now, most of the time it's kind of easy trading. The market's up, doing nice. Everyone's having time with their families and just kind of enjoying the holidays. So most of the time, not too much goes on, but sometimes we actually see the market. At one time, we saw a market go down on Thursday or Friday, so it could be a little bit crazy out there. Anyway, we want to let you guys know that for the holidays, of course, Black Friday, we have a Black Friday sale coming up already. Actually, it's engaged right now, so 30% off for most things that we're offering. Remember the code BFS23, like Black Friday Sale 23. We're down there. We got all sorts of stuff, and then we do have the Moxie indicator for sale there as well. And you can also get that obviously at stockcharts.com. So as we come over here, I want to show you guys because the market we know has really been on a big move to the upside. Now, if I want to look at this, and we can look at the internals, obviously we know what the market itself looks like. But if we look down here and we look at breadth, and you can see we are definitely getting participation across the board on a lot of different a lot of names. Number of stocks over their 200-day, their 50-day, and 20-day. The only thing to say is that the market is pretty up there, and you can see that the number of stocks over their 20-day SMA doesn't really get much higher than this. So you can see that's pretty much where it tops out. Now, that doesn't mean that it's an immediate top of the market. It can definitely persist for quite some time. You can see here that the market persisted, but what it means is that there can be pullbacks. And you can see right here, where was the pullback? Well, it was right at the top of that. What about the next one? I kind of line that up. Okay, see, there was another pullback right there. Okay, so that's just kind of something to be aware of and look into, is that the market might settle down, pull back, something to that extent, because we have barely gotten a pullback. We had one little day of a pullback last week, and but otherwise, things are doing pretty well. So just kind of keep that in mind, that things are getting pretty stretched. It would be nice to see a bit of a pullback. And if we look here, new highs, new lows, this is actually looking fantastic. We are seeing new highs increase, and we are seeing new lows decrease. And you could see that here was the trough, and here was the peak. And that was something I was talking about. I thought this was going to show up a little bit sooner. I thought, maybe that was going to be the peak right here. But of course, then the market wanted one more low, and we got another big thing like that, where we kind of had that flush out type move that took the market back around. All right, so then if we kind of look in through here, a couple things I wanted to note. If you look at the S&P, we could see that the S&P basically pulled back into the higher term moving averages. So you can see here, pulled into the monthly 10 and the weekly 50. So those are big deals, because the market was pretty overbought at the end of the summer, basically at the end of July. Really high up, pretty far away from moving averages, and down it came, and now it bounced. So this is good. Happy to see this. This is pretty normal, typical type stuff that we want to be seeing from the market. You can even look at the NASDAQ, and it was even better. I mean, look at that, just a perfect bounce off of the monthly 10. Now, if we go back to the SPY, and the NASDAQ looks the same, it's up there. The market does not like to be outside of that 30 ATR for too long. So, and we have a pretty big gap here as well from the moving average. So we're just going to have to kind of see, is the market going to drop and then come up? Or is it going to kind of just flag a little bit? Whatever it's going to do, it definitely needs to cool off a bit. I think we are in buy the dip mode. Basically, well, obviously to the end of the year, that should be fairly easy. And then if you look at the NASDAQ, and I want to show you the difference that the mega caps make. So obviously the NASDAQ is right up here. If I could draw a straighter line, you could see right up there and very high up, and you could see that it basically just kind of did a little sideways flag right into the hourly 50 and then jumped up again. But if you look at the QQQE, which is the equal weight, you can see it tells a bit of a different story. You could see first off that there is a line right there, and oh look, we finally broke out. This was some of the stuff that I wanted to see from the market, because what I was concerned about is that it was getting rejected by that. And then you could see here that it was flagging at a much lower height than the regular NASDAQ. So that was telling me that participation wasn't doing very well, that it compared to the mega caps and all that. Like, definitely the NASDAQ was being buoyed by the mega caps. But now that we've had this and we've broken out from there, this is looking much better. This is now really looking like the main, most names are participating. We're seeing broad-based strength, and so this is looking fantastic. But again, we're kind of up into this kind of nosebleed section. You can just see that it doesn't like to stay up there for too long. So just kind of be prepared for some sort of pullback in order to kind of fix this situation. And then if you look at the IWM, what an absolute gorgeous setup, actually. This is the pullback that I was looking for, like that. I was looking for that. I was looking for individual names to do that, but instead, a lot of names kind of went up and then up like that. That's what the Nasdaq and the S&P did it, but the small caps, the IWM, did actually pull back. This is kind of the difference between having something that is cap weighted versus something that is kind of equal weighted. This is I like that pullback. That actually set us up for a trampoline move. So a trampoline move is when price is below the 50 SMA, but the Moxie indicator is above zero. That is a high pressure type setup. It's as if you jump on a trampoline and you get shot up like that. That's why I call it that, because, well, look how it works. And just picture perfect, honestly. And it came out with the news, UBS saying something about, the Fed is going to really cut rates in 2024. So that's what the market is up about. Came up here, ran into a little resistance, and at this point, again, flagging, pullback, something like that, it got overbought. These moves are going to have to be digested. So while I do think that the wind is at our backs, and I do think that we're going to continue to see higher, which is, again, fantastic, just remember you have to find your right buy spots, right opportunities to get in, because you don't want to just jump in at the top up over here. So then we can kind of look around. Now that the talk, basically, of interest rates is starting to turn around, well, look at the small caps. We've got the IWM, we've got CRISPR. I'm noticing that the small caps in the biotech space is actually starting to take off. Look at CRISPR. I mean, big move. Yes, it's been really tough. I mean, there's been practically nothing to do here. Sure, there was a move, but it failed, and sure, there was another move, and it failed. Is this going to do it? Well, it's looking pretty promising, honestly. And you can see it looked just like the IWM. Look at that pullback. Price below the hourly 50, the Moxie indicator above zero. That is a sweet pullback. That's a sweet setup. That's a trampoline move on the hourly time frame. And you know what? If this is going to really do something, that's great. Happy to see, because think about it. Biotech and the small caps historically need a lot of capital. They need money infusion, and so they have to. Interest rates, they're very sensitive to interest rates, and that's why I'm saying that these are suddenly popping up. So CRISP, and then TWST is another one. You can see this one, actually, I like the pattern better. If you look at the higher time frame, you can see it a little bit more clearly. There you go. You can see that it had put in basically a double bottom, but like a higher low double bottom. And notice how price was getting rejected by the moving average here, and now it's past it. So we're starting to see some things change. If you look at this, nice big move, lots of volume. Now, I always have a hard time wanting to trade anything biotech, because based on their FDA approval or anything else like that, if they have a trial of a certain drug, whether it succeeds or fails, you can go up or down 50%, 80% overnight and not even be aware of it. And so then that had me thinking, if we take a look at LABU as far as a leveraged ETF, and then look what I found over here. So LABU, nice little double bottom right there. And also another trampoline move. Price below the 50, Moxie indicator above zero. And then there was a little bit of a double top right there, but then it tested the moving average, and this looks like it wants to go do something. You can see we also have the 8 crossing over the 21, and we have price. Looks like it wants to get past the daily 50. Now, this could be a little bit tricky. Obviously, it has not been doing much, anything productive over, the last couple years. So we're just going to see if there's something here. Don't know how big this is going to be or how long it's going to last, but it does look like there's a setup, and it does look like there's some activity going on in that space. So wanted to let you guys know about it. And then a totally different space, but again with the idea that interest rates might start getting reversed, and the market can start planning ahead and thinking forward about that. Joby Aviation, this is that vertical takeoff, air taxi type stuff and company. Extremely speculative. I mean, understand what you're going to be risking here, but do you guys notice and see the same setup? There's the double bottom, and it looks like price is wanting to get past the daily 50. There's the double bottom. In fact, it was almost an official trampoline move. You could basically call it that, but if not, there's the double bottom. There's your positive divergence, and it looks like this thing wants to go higher. Now, let me kind of take a look real quick at the monthly, weekly, and you can see, yeah, had a huge move, but look what it did. Come on all the way back down to possible support. So just another one, Joby, to kind of think of, see if there's something there for you. And then if you want something a little bit more tried and true, we could look at Costco. And we can see back here over the summer, it got a little overbought, but since then it's been holding the moving averages nicely. We have a Moxie price trigger starting to fire on the weekly time frame. We can see it's just starting to kind of breach new highs. And then if we look at this on the daily and hourly, you can see it's been doing pretty well. And this is another, oh, let me get that, oops. This is another Moxie price trigger right there. So that looks good as well. Now, it did have a pretty big move up here. You can see it got a little overbought, a little extended. So hopefully this doesn't turn into a pop and flop. That would be one risk. So just you got to keep in mind that if this ran up, doesn't like it, comes back down, and then fails, well, then you need to be aware of that and don't hang on forever for that. But it does look to me more like it came right back into what used to be resistance, popped up, and now it's coming back into support and then moving up from there. All right, guys. Well, hope you enjoyed that. Remember, we have a Black Friday sale coming up over here, so simplertrading.com/flash sale and BFS23 for your code. Thanks again, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.